It's a brand new season, and with a brand new season comes brand new challenges. With brand new challenges comes a brand new form book, and with everything that's brand new, it's all about showing that you have got all the pace needed to go out there and challenge. We welcome you, of course, to Montemelo, Spain, because this is the circuit to Barcelona, Catalunya, your opening round of the championship here in the iRacing Grand Prix Series. I'm Jake Sperry here at SimSpeed TV, joining alongside with Jay Kennedy, bringing you all of the action today from this wonderful racing circuit. Of course, the Formula One test track of choice to make sure that all things are working perfectly at the start of the season. A very good early round of championships on top of that as well, and a difficult place to go out and make overtakes happen. We're in evening conditions here today as well as we zoom on in as we head to the Iberian Peninsula and Catalonia, Spain. We are going to be not a million miles away from Barcelona. Of course, you've got Toulouse, Monaco, Milan. They're all in the mix. Munich up top, but Barcelona is where we jump on in. And Jay, a track which by all intents and purposes deserves its place with the top tracks in the world.
100%. It's a brilliant circuit and one that provides plenty of action. One that we love coming to as well. It's always a very, very entertaining circuit whenever we come here. Tough challenges for a lot of the drivers as well. Of course, that chicane at the end, as much as we hate it, it does provide a little bit of action. Very, very heated part of the circuit. And of course, the run up to turn one, especially when we get DRS later on in the race, will provide some great racing. But it's a fantastic track and one that we've seen some great racing at every single time we've come in.
Yeah, and every single time we come here, we make sure that there is some good battling on the offing. This is the circuit as we take a little look at that final chicane. Drivers figuring out their qualifying in closed conditions. 8 minutes to set a lap. 2 laps they have available. This is how the championship stood at the end of last season. Matteo Ugolotti walking away with it by a full 99 points come the end over Jorge Martinez, and then Matt Wood finishing off the season in 3rd position. A number of names in that field wanting to give a good account for themselves, and a few new drivers then to the top echelon looking to give this championship season a red hot go. I think this is probably going to be the most interesting championship right now that we've had in a number of seasons.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be absolutely brilliant. Looking forward to seeing how it does play out. And of course, starting with a clean slate means that the likes of Wood and Adam Webb, those guys, and also Martinez as well, will be looking to capitalise early to try and get those points early on in the season when there's a lot of points up for grabs, when there's higher participation. So a few of those guys will be looking to capitalise early, try and steal some points away, because it's much easier to get them now than it is later on in the championship when you're trailing behind.
Certainly is. Matt Wood has just gone to 2nd with his qualifying time. We look at Diogo Oliveira making that big push there in the Nvidia car, making the drive towards La Caixa turn 10. Of course, changed in the real world this scan just before all of the changes were made to make this a one-line suits-all corner and didn't need 2 different variants at it. But Oliveira now up the hill. Huge wiggle there with the crossover there at 12. It's very blustery today. 21km/h winds from the northeast, and you can see these machines getting blown about through some of those corners, and that unsettling is going to be really important through the hairpins. Over the line, that one a 21.2. And well, fortunately for him, one more lap available on the books then to put at least something down on the board. We focus on said Adam Webb in the number 9 machine, hoping to have a good run. His teammate Kent Nielsen is up there 5th at the moment, Jay, in qualifying.
Yeah, we talked late last season, about the form and the improvement that Kent Nielsen was going throughout that championship. So great to see him continuing that form, but that's a nice banker lap there for Adam Webb. Goes 9th. You're looking to push on a little bit harder in this 2nd lap.
He certainly will do at this stage. Still some drivers looking to put some times on the board. Yet to put one on is Claver Toffoli and Jin Se-yuk out there hoping for times as Webb goes through the long turn number 3, which is going to be a tyre killer here today. We've had some word that maybe we're looking at a 2-stop strategy. There is Se-yuk left and rights coming along then of the final chicane, and then that final long right-hander then at New Holland makes that drive over to the line. DRS boards go early, and it's a 120.9 from Sayuk, only good enough for 13th place overall. Here goes Oliveira looking to improve, and this looks like a better improvement, but it is only a 20.5. You can see 11th place, on the grid, and a far cry away from the pace of the likes of Kane Halliburton. That's really disappointing, Jay, from Diogo Oliveira.
Well, one thing to notice there, he was actually running the medium compound tyre in qualifying, so he's the highest place of the drivers that's running the medium. I think that's more a strategy call for the race to try and push it back to a one-stop strategy. So not necessarily true marker of his pace. It's more about thinking long term and trying to reduce it down to only a one-stop strategy. John Pat Kelly stays in 12th. Kleber Toffoli, the only driver yet to post a lap time, and judging by him sitting in the pits, I don't think he will. Kent Nielsen's out there for a second run, and he's actually going to get two runs at it at 2 laps, but obviously they won't count.
Yep, so he's out of laps. He has set both of his laps on the board. Any driver who is out there right now, which includes Cengiz Kaygushaj as well as Kent Nielsen, they have used all of their allotted laps. So we are able now at this stage to head ourselves over to the starting grid, because we know how everyone is going to stack out in this qualifying session as the clock ticks down 2, 1, and 0 as the timer expires. So at least for the moment, we were talking at the back end of last season that certain drivers could go out there and make a championship challenge this season. And it is the driver in the number 2 machine who has been able to make that a reality. Kane Halliburton from Club UKNI on the pole position, 118.950, has Matt Wood for company then on the front row of the grid. Jorge Martinez starts this one from 3rd with Tomonori Kajitani there in 4th position. Great qualifying from Tomonori. Kent Nielsen starts this one from 5th, ahead of Marco Nurmela there in 6th position. Of course, teammate to Kane Halliburton at Racecraft, with Ray Grafioin in 7th and Thomas Bartosic there in 8th place. Adam Webb in the number 9 starts P9. Tamas Shane rounding out the top 10. It seems like the Americans do like the outside of these rows, with Diogo Oliveira 11th on the mediums and John Pat Kelly then in position number 12. We look back, Renato Augusto 13th, Jin Sayuk in 14th position, and then Cengiz Kaygushaj in 15th, and Kleber Toffoli making the 16 drivers who are looking to put themselves onto the grid here today. 2 splits, of course, here in this series, and that meant that we have ourselves drivers in top split and bottom split. This is top split. Worth noting as well, the drivers who qualified on the mediums, Renato Augusto, Jin Sayuk, and Diogo Oliveira are those on the yellow-walled medium compound tyre. Everyone else went to the red-walled hard compound tyre. Red-walled soft compound tyre. My brain is frazzled, as we will have 44 laps of racing action then here today. We heard that 2 stop is the port of call. I personally doubt that. I think 1 stop might be the right way forward if you can make the tyres last that long, but we know this is a high tyre wear circuit, so keep that in mind. Drivers looking to get themselves ready, just waiting for the one driver of John Pat Kelly to take to the grid. Has 3, 2, 1, and 0, and has missed the gridding up process, so we'll start from the pit. Let's get ourselves ready then. Lights then about to come on here at the circuit of Barcelona, Catalunya. Our season starts now. Green flag, and away we go. Matt Wood with a stormer as he gets going. Slow one for Kajitani there from the second row, but Matt Wood's got exactly what he wants as they make that drive towards turn 1. Looks from Martinez as they're trying around the outside. Goes Halliburton, doesn't work. Good start as well from Kent Nielsen, and of course side by side with Marco Nurmela, both of them gaining a place off of the get-go, but a nice clean start as they all went through. One driver slow at the back. John Pat Kelly, of course, started from the pit, but in towards troubles. There goes the hit. Nurmela around and others getting caught up.
Wow, that was a big hit for Nurmela too, and he's done. Race over already. And it's just side-by-side contact between he and Adam Webb. With he and Kent Nielsen, I should say. And just nothing too wrong. It just sort of squeezed Nurmela up a little bit, probably hit the inside curb. Unfortunately, around he goes. But have a look at the train behind Amashane, sorry, he's behind Ray Griffioen. Bartosic trying to get through, but couldn't quite get the move done. He's now stuck behind, and there's a little bit of a gap forming between the top 5 and the rest of the field.
Certainly is, and it's these top 5 which will be looking to try and break away in the early goings. They head through that very difficult rack chicane and look to try and make some charges forward. Shane in his own little bit of difficulties are recovering. Tomonori Kajitani will be looking to try and get through, as will Jinsei Yuk, who has done really well off at the start, gained 4 places on those medium compound tyres. No DRS until lap 3, so that's why the likes of Kajitani can't get the move done into turn number 1 just yet, but they'll be very much hopeful that the DRS activation will be very nice to them over on lap 3 of this event.
And just ahead to see Bartosic and Ray Griffioen side by side, and that's move done. Thomas Bartosic through, although, oh no, Griffioen around.
Just like that, Ray Griffioen finds himself in a world of hurt as he now finds himself in the gravel and having to extricate himself from that. And just looking at Ray Griffioen's perspective on that, he's thinking about turn 5 as a place to go in, and it's almost like he was psyching himself up to try and get a little look down the inside, but by the time he got there, it was a case of the car said, oh no, I don't want to be there anymore, and around you go.
Yeah, exactly right. Just didn't quite have the braking right. And,
oh wow.
Lock the wheels. I don't like an oh wow.
No, I've just seen an amazing move by Cengiz Kegashus on Jinsei Yuk, coming out of 10 into 11. Asking you shall receive. Virtual Racing School replay then on the board. So this is the key. Shayuk runs a little bit wide, and that is just so much confidence from Cengiz there to make sure that one was sorted. Tyre differentiation, yes. Still, tough to make a move at 11. I've never seen a move at 11.
Yeah, really abnormal spot to see passing moves done. Sure, Shayuk ran wide, but still to be able to show the commitment to hold it through there, not easy to do. Great move, and yeah, great gain of positions early on. Already up 7 spots.
Worth noting, we do have one driver in the pits. It is Tamas Shane. The front nose is completely off. He's actually thrown it straight into the barriers at turn 4 at Repsol. Got himself a little bit out of shape, had nowhere to go, and bang into the wall went Tamash on lap 2. A new wing on the car, 8.3 seconds because of that, and now having to recover from the very, very back of the field.
Yeah, and this will now turn into an alternate strategy for him. Stuck with the soft compound tyre, which usually if we see drivers pit out of sequence there, they'll go to a medium and then try and work the race back from there. But surprising to see that he's stuck with the soft. Means that he's going to have to come in at least one more time, potentially could be 2. If drivers are looking at going one stop, likely that they'll swap to the medium when they do come into the pits, but they go soft. They may run 3 sets of softs. And a real big curveball strategy, which I had heard from a couple of drivers, believe it or not, is a soft, medium, soft strategy. So the tyre wear, absolutely extreme at this circuit this week.
Definitely seems like some of the parameters on the car have changed a little bit to be a little bit more, I would say, sensitive to tyre life. There is Kleber Toffoli, and he's trying to get through Reynaldo Augusto in the F1 apps machine just in front, looking to try and open up this right-hander of 9. It's off camber and it's very heavy to the dirty air effect. DRS at full bore, but this is a very short straight for a DRS zone. Very tough to get yourself alongside, and as you can see, the move does not quite materialize at that point in time. So there is still a lot more to go along, and it is worth pointing out then that as we take a little look then with Reynaldo Augusto, he's on the yellow-walled mediums compared to the red-walled softs that Kleber Toffoli is driving on right now.
Yeah, he's already up a couple of spots as well, so definitely is thinking long-term as here comes Toffoli. Through he goes. That was a fairly easy move. Classic DRS move at the home of the Spanish Grand Prix. But Augusto may be able to get that back on the next lap with the DRS back again. Lap time wise at the front, Halliburton and Wood basically punching identical lap times against each other, and it's not going out any further than a second between those two at the front.
Definitely seems that way, but they are punching away from Jorge Martinez and Kent Nielsen, who are 3rd and 4th at the moment in this one. There is Kane Halliburton on screen at this moment in time. You can see he's 0.8 of a second away. And we said at the back end of the last season, Kane Halliburton is the driver to watch. Didn't participate in a full championship season, picked up a couple of wins in the racecraft car, and did exactly what he wanted to, what he needed to over the course of those races, and that was to showcase how much speed he actually has. Effectively do what Matteo Ugolotti did about 2 seasons ago now.
Yeah, exactly right. Show that he's the next one, and the changing of the guard will bring through good results for him. And with Martinez, with Ugolotti opting to not race a full season this season, it's a chance for the likes of Halliburton and Wood to try and capitalise, and Martinez as well. It's really going to be between those three. It's stage 1 of this huge boxing match. The first minute of the first round is going to Matt Wood, but we're not even anywhere near the end of the first round yet.
Absolutely, and if it's anything like Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather, this might be a boxing match that's going to go on for a very long time in this race, mark my word. So at least for the time being, Kane Halliburton will be certainly searching for places, but he'll know that he will be looking at strategy and trying to work strategy to an advantage. This is a strategic style circuit. Very tough to go and make moves outright. You need to have a better mind game out there on when to pit and when's the right call. You can see going through the lefts and the rights, and a beautiful decal work that's been done on this machine. It's the sort of detail that you don't often see in the work that likes of Trading Paints, for example, has done to make these liveries absolutely sensational. They make that charge down the hill over towards 1, 2 and 3 once again, and you can see Kane Halliburton really is keeping Matt Wood honest at 0.9 of a second the gap.
It just looks like he's managing the gap, doesn't he? Doesn't look like he's pushing it all. He's just holding that gap and maybe just trying to conserve tyres to maybe make them last 2 or 3 laps longer than Matt Wood. If he can do that, that'll be a big advantage for him in that second phase of the race. And if they do both go for a one-stop strategy, to be able to get 2-3 laps longer out of the first stint of tyres and still have pace, that's a huge advantage to be able to use those tyres in the second phase, push on hard for a closing run. Kent Nielsen as well, just looking at sector split times, Kent Nielsen is actually very, very quick out there at the moment. He just can't quite nail the last sector. But the rest of the circuit, he is one of the fastest, if not the fastest driver out there at the moment. So Kent Nielsen is definitely one to watch, even though he's back in 4th. He is quite honestly flying at the moment. He's starting to apply a little bit of pressure to Martinez.
He certainly is, and it is quite showing at this moment in time how all of that pressure is being put into the battles that we've got. I do also want to keep an eye on our medium compound runners. Currently, Jinsei Hyuk is the fastest driver out there on the mediums. He's got Diogo Oliveira for company, but already you can see the sorts of gaps that they have lost out, these medium drivers, in the early goings of this race. You can see already the gap is 17.7 seconds to the leaders. So if you're going to try and save a pit stop around this place, you're looking at around 20 seconds, 21 seconds for around a pit stop that you're trying to get. So already, we've only got 4 seconds in the bank to play with. So victory looks like it's already a little bit out of reach.
Yeah, of course, they could be reverse engineering the race too. If we're going to see the front runners go to a one-stop and go mediums, these guys might go to softs at the end and be able to use that to their advantage later on. So I don't know the full strategy around why they've opted to start with the medium, but it could just be a car balance thing as well. They didn't feel they could get the car balanced how they would have liked on the soft compound tyre, and the medium just suited them better in regards to actually being able to get pace out of the car, or stability out of the car, or longevity out of the car. Maybe they found that the soft compound tyre was just burning up way too much and they couldn't even do it on 2 stops. So we don't know the whole reasoning around why they've gone for the medium, but I'm sure it hasn't been as much of a disaster as we're maybe playing it out to be. I mean, Theok's up 5 spots, Toffoli's up 5 spots, Oliveira's up 1, sorry, Ronaldo Augusto, the other driver, he's up a couple of spots as well, so they've all gained spots, so I mean, it's not necessarily the worst idea in the world to be out there on these medium compound tyres, because they haven't lost any time from it, they've only gained position, so and as we go further into the race, they're probably going to gain more as the soft compound tyre starts to go off.
Yeah, that's definitely a plan that they've got on their minds. They've got a big gap now of 9 seconds to Tominori Kajitani in 7th place, with Cengiz Kegshas then in 8th, just holding everyone back a little bit maybe at this moment in time. But really interesting is the battles now from 3rd to 7th. That is a gap split by about 5 seconds apiece between all of them right now. So you've got Jorge Martinez, arguably the greatest tyre saver in the field. You've got a very good up-and-coming Kent Nielsen. Adam Webb's having probably his best race in this series to date. And then you've got Bartosic and Kajitani, both looking to try and make that charge and get everything all nicely sorted. This all in the meanwhile, while we've got that battle going on at the very front. Kajitani with a very good run with DRS, but not close enough to Thomas Bartosic to get it done. So Tominori must wait.
He's been one of the cars that have dropped back through the field. He's started in 4th, back to 7th. He's won that pace, was brilliant in qualifying, but just hasn't been able to capitalise out there in race conditions. Of course, didn't have the best of starts. Speaking of starts, that start from Matt Wood, we haven't really talked about it since the start of the race. That was a brilliant launch, just to be able to break away from Halliburton and basically grab the dagger and slowly put it into his back very, very quickly. Broke his heart straight away at the start of the race just from a great launch.
You just said he slowly put the dagger in quickly. I'm very impressed.
Hey, it's very early in the morning.
It is very early in the morning, but I'm very happy with that sort of analogy. Still though, Kajitani really looking to try and attack, and look at this, all over the back of Bartosic here through the rack chicane. No takers as of yet onto the lane then. On lap 11, you'd feel, if you're going for a 2-stop strategy on the softs, and go soft, medium, you want to go about 11, 12 laps. But here goes Kajitani, moving to the inside on Thomas Bartosic. Has he got it sorted at the turn in? Yes, he has. Move is done. So now, at what point do you hit the crossover where it feels comfortable to come in? Because from fastest lap of Matt Wood, a 21 flat, they're down about 0.8 of a second from that point.
Yeah, the tyre carcass has been adjusted a little bit for this season, so we're probably not going to see the storming 1-lap pace that we're going to see that we saw last season, where drivers are punching out, breaking lap records on the last lap of the race. Those days may be gone for a little bit, but yeah, it's hard to know because there's so many variables that we're not too sure about this season. I'm guessing if they get to maybe 2 seconds off the pace, they might start to think about pitting. So if they get into the mid-22s, high 22s, they start to look at it. I mean, we're only a quarter of the way through the race, so you definitely don't want to be pitting yet. If you're going to the mediums, you might go to a third, just over a third race distance. So what's that, lap 16, 17? I don't think we'll see anyone pit before
First
that
taker.
point. Oh, there we go, right on cue.
Thomas Bartosic.
Of course, as I said, I don't think we're going to see anyone in. Someone drives in.
Exactly. Perfect commentator skirts. Thomas Bartosic then in on the lane, looking to make his first pit stop, committed to that 2-stop, it seems, at this stage. But what's really, really striking about how early he's come in is actually how hot the track is here today. We're in evening conditions, 27 degrees. If they're 2-stopping in cool conditions, what are they going to do in hot conditions?
Yeah, very good point. Okay, Nermal are just messaging us saying that likely going to see everyone come in between now and lap 14 for softs.
Options there. So we'll see whether we'll get that massive chain reaction of drivers coming into the pits. Bartosic, of course, the first one to really make that call and to make that a reality. There is your leader, Matt Wood, here on lap 12. 1.2 seconds now, the gap to Kane Halliburton. So he's just slowly eking it away. Did lose a little bit of time over that last lap, but in comes Halliburton now, and this is a pure undercut that he is trying to get. He's been waiting for that time to drop to about a second so he can go and attack and get a second's advantage on the tyres.
Yeah, we're hoping it pays off for him when Matt Wood comes in. Matt Wood will probably have to come in next lap now to try and counteract that move. Halliburton away, and 3.6 second stop, so about standard stop for him.
Crucially, look how much clean air he comes out to. He's just behind Kleber Toffoli, which is a little bit awkward. We'll catch him at the end of that stop, but it's going to be a very good case of Matt Wood trying to work out what is the best decision for him at this point. And also, the battle going on for the podium right now between Marquez and Nielsen. How important is that going to be with the strategy card in play? Moving into the third sector now goes Matt Wood. We are a quarter of the way through this race already, but now is this the right time to go and make that call to cover off the move that is so very much needed, knowing that hardly anybody has come in otherwise. Matt Wood is going to dive at the latest possible moment to go into the lane. You have to be careful about doing that too often because, of course, when it comes to this, you've got to be careful about unsafe pit entry.
100%. Can't touch the grass when you go to come into the pits, so did a good job there. Top three are all in. Adam Webb in. Everyone's coming in.
Toffoli also comes in. The three mediums, of course, staying out. And this is going to be quite awkward here for Matt Wood, who needs to get up to speed pretty quickly here. One's going to go through, two's going to go through. They're going to battle for position. Three's going to go through, but crucially ahead of Kane Halliburton, who got caught behind Toffoli. And now you can see how difficult it is. They've got to get by drives for position. That's Oliveira, who lets the position go then, of course, for Matt Wood. Kane Halliburton wants in as well. And then you've got Kagesus versus Sayuk. And this at the moment is the battle for the race lead.
Yep, this is a true battle for the lead, of course. We've got drivers out of position. Wow, what a dive there from Halliburton, and Matt Wood just ahead as well with the big dive. Yeah, this is for position on track, so Pegasus is leading the race right now, but Matt Wood right there to take that position away. This is new softs versus old softs versus middle-aged mediums.
Middle-aged mediums indeed. Now you can see Matt Wood line it up then at Lekaitsa. Halliburton behind as well does exactly the same. He goes into Kagesus and they all scatter about. Somehow avoiding that is Diogo Oliveira, but Kane Halliburton, the first real mistake, and that was eyes bigger than the belly syndrome.
Wow. Wow. I don't know what else to say, but wow.
Okay, Owen Wilson, what a moment we have had there as they went on through. Now, this is Halliburton. He's lining up the first move. He's got the DRS, but he misses braking point by about 15 metres, can't get it turned, and, well, Kagesus is a passenger at that point, and it's a typical hit there at turn 10, where you cannot see out to the side of the car that you're going to get hit.
Halliburton back into the pits to get damage fixed. We're getting a new front wing. Maybe a little bit of suspension damage too from that hit, but obviously won't be able to get that fixed. But yeah, wow, what an amazing sequence of events, and that's just the new versus old tyres all coming together at the same spot at the same time.
I'll tell you what's really interesting is, as we look at this pack right now, that there is Webb that we are looking at this moment in time. He's got Reynaldo Augusto just in front, Oliveira just in front of that, Kent Nielsen there as well, and then you got behind Bartosic and Kajitani, who have both got onto the back through that stop cycle. Away from all of this down the road by a couple seconds, Jorge Marquez, who's managed to just about beat the train as they go through. This is going to completely check them all up. How close does Ken Nielsen want to go to the medium runners at this stage.
Yeah, well, Kent Nielsen's lost out big time, hasn't he? Because remember, he was right behind Martinez, and now he's, what, 5 seconds back, 4 seconds back. So Martinez has been a big gainer in the pit stop cycle. Kent Nielsen has lost out big time. And interesting, their pit stop times absolutely identical. So just one coming out ahead, one coming out behind those slower cars on the medium compound tyre has absolutely changed where they're positioned in this race and how they're positioned in this race.
Makes all the difference right now. There was an apology by Kent Nielsen through that rack chicane for Reynaldo Augusto there. He just gave a little sorry as he went on through, but now Bartosic wants to attack Adam Webb, and Webb's got to be very, very careful here about how he makes that move, because he's got to attack Reynaldo Augusto, knows he's on a slower tyre, and if he goes and makes that move a reality, he's got to do it really, really quickly, and he'll be figuring out which way to do it. Does he have an angle here in towards turn 10? He's thinking about the inside, but again, it's just a thought right now. Not able to capitalise just yet, though, is Bartosic.
The thing that's making this a little bit more difficult for the likes of Webb and Bartosic is that Augusto had DRS then as well, because he was still close enough to Kent Nielsen. Nielsen already broken away to over a second, so that will end now. And Webb and Bartosic should get through, but that little section where they couldn't get through, that's meant now that Kent Nielsen is already 2 seconds clear just off that one tiny little sector where they couldn't quite get that move done. Adam Webb gets through. Bartosic can't. Will Bartosic be able to get through now?
Oh!
Maybe not quite.
My word, I thought they were going to go.
Wide.
And there's 3 wide as there goes Kashitani looking for the inside. And commitment from Bartosic to say, I am braking late and taking the normal racing line. He expected both of them to lift. And my goodness, if they both played the game of chicken, I tell you what, Bartosic just won.
Well, hey, what a move. Bartosic was not letting that go at all, was he? He just wanted that position and was doing everything in his power to make sure he got it. And said thank you very much in the end, took that position away. I must say, going off on a different tangent here, J-Hook on those medium compound tyres is actually making them work quite well. He's got Kent Nielsen behind him now, but he's up into 3rd position. Remember, he started in 14th.
Yeah, that's key, and trying to make this last as long as possible. So about lap 22, you could maybe go medium, all the way to the end, cut out the stop. But here goes the move then from Kent Nielsen. He will move to the inside and look to make this one a reality, as into the pits comes Diogo Oliveira to come off of the medium compound tyre after 17 laps worth of action, and the move complete then for Kent Nielsen, who moves up into position number 3. A bit more side-by-side in the background. This is Cengiz Kegashus and Kleber Toffoli going through to jump up the place. Toffoli now moving up one more place now into the top 10.
Pegasus hasn't pitted yet either, so he's still going around on those soft compound tyres. There can't be much tread left on them yet, though. He'll have to pit very soon. And as well, Bartosic now stuck behind Shajul. Can't get through.
Can't get through yet. That's the key. Yet. We'll definitely get a great run out of turn number 9, and probably will look to try and send at 10, but isn't quite there. And the longer he waits, the more he will allow the mock-up Red Bull of Kajitani to close up to the mock-up Ferrari there of Sayuk. And Sayuk has left the door open here in towards turn 12, and just like that, it all falls away. And Kajitani was trying to go to the outside, try and sneak one through. He'll get DRS though on this straight, and that will be a comfortable dispatching of this overtake. He'll lose only about 0.7 of a second in comparison to Bartosic, and as he tries to challenge on the straight, it's going to be a drag race down. Sayuk's got the advantage on the brakes, but Kajitani keeping the nose in, makes sure that he was confirming that overtake.
Yeah, nice move in the end there, just making sure that he showed the commitment, forced that move in the end, and through he goes. So nice little move there. Ray Griffith just getting through, gaining a spot.
That's Kegashus again, and that's a spin through the final corner.
Okay.
So
struggling on those soft compound tyres. He needs to come in and pit.
I wonder if we can get ourselves a virtual racing school replay and see just how that final corner went for him, because he was full spread eagle sideways as he went on through. There you can see it there, just completely losing the rears. And right now he's effectively driving on the tyre carcass at this moment in time. He'll definitely have to pit, but I think he's desperate to get to lap 22, and I just don't think he's going to get there.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think he's got a chance of getting there. He's all of that good work that he done in that middle phase of his first stint is all gone because he's gone too hard. Just trying to listen to see if we can hear any tyre. Another lock-up. You can definitely hear when a tyre is popped on a car in iRacing, but can't hear it, so hasn't popped yet, but it can't be too far away. He's struggling big time.
Yeah, absolutely. He's about to get overtaken soon by Kane Halliburton, who is not a million miles away behind in what is 13th position. Now into the pits comes Renato Augusto to make that stop, as Kagashas also makes the call to dive down into the pits. Then your leader, Matt Wood, clear by 5 seconds over Jorge Martinez on home soil in 2nd position. Kent Nielsen currently holding 3rd, but he's dragging his teammate along for the ride. Adam Webb is there 0.8 of a second back, and this is a really impressive race by both of them, who have completely taken to the new changes of the car.
Yeah, Adam Webb up 5 spots, so great start from him. He'll be looking to capitalise early. He didn't have a great start to the last season, had some great races, but also had some poor ones mixed in, so he'll be looking to have a more consistent season this time around. And two of the more improved drivers in the championship, these two drivers. Kent Nielsen definitely the most improved. He was absolutely brilliant in the second half of last season. Something has happened to Kane Halliburton.
So this is what's happened to Kane. Going through turn number 3 on the mediums, he grabs a little bit of grass on the inside, and as he tries to gather it up together, he's got a little bit of a wiggle going on, and as he moves into 4, it looks like everything is okay for the moment, looking to go on through. So nothing to note as of yet. Looks very tail happy, big lock up, and that looks like a crash of some kind, a screen freeze or something.
Either that, or maybe he had suspension damage from that earlier incident and it was just starting to get worse and worse and worse. Definitely a possibility, but yeah, unfortunately he's had to end his race. Down to 13 runners left now. Matt Wood absolutely storming, but some good battles going on in the midfield here. Kent Nielsen and Adam Webb continuing their fight. This little battle here is starting to get quite heated.
Yeah, Thomas Bartosic, Tominori, Karjitani, both of them are trying to do everything they can to move on forward here. They are 5th and 6th at the moment. They've got about 3 seconds now to Jinsei Hyuk, then, who is still in 7th, still going around actually on lap 21, the only driver out there in the field who is still on the set of tyres that they started on with. And give credit, it's going to go on to a 22nd lap. Seyuk's going for a 1-stop, it looks like.
Definitely, and happy with the medium, so probably go medium to make sure he does 1 stop. Matt Wood has just done the fastest lap of the race as well. First race lap into the 1 minute 20 bracket. And the only driver to get close to that was Halliburton in that first stage of the race. And Thomas Bartosic as well, almost into that pace as well, but everyone else a little bit slower than what we're seeing Matt Wood doing at the moment. He is absolutely flying and loving this fresh air that it's got.
He absolutely is, and it was only Bartosic really and Jorge Martinez could get anywhere close. They were 0.3 of a second back of that sort of time, but there is Karjitani once again with the DRS flap open, knowing that the driver in front is running incredibly quickly right now. And what's worth noting is 1.8. A very important gap when they last crossed the line. That's how close Bartosic is to Adam Webb. If he gets within 1 second, then he's got DRS, and suddenly Karjitani's advantage is for naught. And that'll be the last thing that Karjitani wants. He wants to get through, and he wants to break away as soon as he possibly can. A little bit of struggles coming out to that final corner, but as they enter this long front stretch once again and descend down the hill towards turn number 1, once again, it's a case to be made of can't quite get there in through 1 and 2. Patience very much needed here at the mid stage of this race.
A that some issues were technical, force feedback issues, so that does explain with the wheel wiggling and the lack of control in the car, so that makes a lot of sense. But this battle here, absolutely brilliant, isn't it? Bartosic doing just enough, literally just enough, no more, no less, to hold on to this position. He's just pace in the right spots to ensure that the DRS isn't quite strong enough to get moved up.
It's a very thin tightrope that you walk, but Kajitani has got a stormer of a run here. Surely has a little look to the inside. No, decides patience is the better part of valor. Now, this is a track where it's tough to overtake. If there was any time for ascend, that was the one.
He might not get another opportunity like that he had there, where he had the overspeed and the momentum and the DRS. He probably could have caught Bartosic unaware and almost scared Bartosic into a move. But in saying that, he's got the momentum this time. A little bit of a slide for Bartosic. Here we go. DRS is going to help him. This will be moved up.
This is plain and sailing, so the bold action man gets it done. So through goes Kajitani, moving up then into position number 5, and that one is very much a case of you're very welcome, Doi Tashimashite. But now you start to wonder, as there's other battles on track, who can do what. What about this one for 11th and 12th here, Jay? John Pat Kelly versus Reynaldo Augusto.
Reynaldo Augusto, the only other driver other than Matt Wood to do a 1 minute 20 lap time on the softs. His first flying lap on the softs did a 20.9, which he was only 600ths of a second off the fastest lap of the race. I think the extra pace that he's got may have caught him out a little bit there, because he made a little bit of a mistake coming through turn 3 and had to run wide. But he's definitely got more pace, and John Pat Kelly will get the move done. And John won't fight it too hard either, because he knows that it's not really a battle he needs to fight. If Augusto's quicker, he's going to get through anyway, so he might as well give up the spot and try and work a more consistent race. That's the way John Pat Kelly races, is he just races consistent, make sure he brings it home, and he often finds himself extra positions just by being consistent. Augusto not quite close enough to get the move done though.
No, I don't think John Pat Kelly's going to make life easy here for Reynaldo Augusto.
Maybe not the right word, make it easy, just he won't make it difficult.
No, of course not. He knows when he's beat as a driver. He won't go out there and fight for the defender of the lost corner or anything of that sort of ilk, but he understands that if he has a quick car, or he has a car, he knows where the limits are, and he knows where he can push and where he can't, can John Pat Kelly. Another little attempt now on this straight, the DRS full bore, but you're running out of straight here, Reynaldo, to get it done then in towards turn number 1. I'll tell you what, John's come to race.
Just got pace in the right spots on the track, doesn't he? And Augusto again running that right line through turn 3, trying to get the late apex and the momentum, a little short straight up to turn 4. But yeah, John's just got the run out of turn 9, which is the corner just before the DRS starts, and out of the last corner, the corner before the DRS starts. The two corners on the track you probably need the best pace and the best momentum are those two corners to be able to hold a position.
Yeah, and hold it. He has done very, very well. So Reynaldo finds out the difficulties about racing at the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya in these sorts of vehicles. It's very tough to overtake, and this time I think he might just be trying to angle to get a move done, but once more it's a case of you will wait, sunshine. That one is not going to become a reality just yet. But speaking of realities here in this sort of race, my word, are we seeing some quick times from Tomonori Kajitani right now. Just did a 21.3 on that last lap. Took 7/10 of a second out of both Webb and Nielsen on that last lap.
He's found some pace late on in this phase of the race, hasn't he? He's, just as we cut away, Augusto's got that move done up the inside with the DRS, so that's move done. Yeah,
Camera shy.
Amazing that he's found pace late on. He's one of the few drivers that actually has got great pace in the later phase of a tyre stint. So not many drivers have been able to do this sort of pace at this phase of their stint. So good to see that he's making the car work in the latter phase. Not too far away from seeing our next round of pit stops as well. Probably another 3 laps maybe.
Well, you know as well that the longer that you go out there on a stint, especially with a series like this where you don't refuel at your pit stop, it is easier on the tyres the longer that you go because you've got less weight sloshing around the car, there's less rubbing of the tyre against the surface, you can be more precise with how you turn in, and that is also reflected in the lap time. So, like some Matt Wood, still doing 21.3s at this moment in time, but as you can see, Adam Webb has been caught, and they are catching traffic. That's Cengiz Kaygashes then just in front. They will all have to get through, all three of them, and that is just going to concertina everybody back up. Who likes accordion music?
I'm positive that they'll have, though, of course, they'll all have DRS at the same time, so they'll all potentially be able to get the move done. But Adam Webb will be hoping he can get through. The other two get caught behind, and it gives him, Kent Nielsen, I should say, it gives him a little bit of an advantage. That's what's going to happen. Adam Webb's going to get through as well. And not all three, but no, move done, so they're all going to get through at the same time. This makes it a very, very interesting fight here now.
It does, and it depends on who decides to stop when, because I think it's the emphasis of Kajitani to try and break through these two in this podium battle out here, but he's got a really good run out of that chicane once again. I'm sure he's got another eye to attacking Adam Webb, but Webb's got the DRS of his own, so this is going to be even keel as they try and work out where's the overtake. Defended on the inside then by Adam Webb in towards turn number one ever so slightly. Then as you head through 1, 2 and the very long turn 3. But Kajitani, he doesn't say anything about dirty air. Now it hits and he loses a car length through this section. Won't be able to attack at Repsol to try and get it done. But give credit here to the 7 as really giving Adam Webb on his career best a good run. And as we speak on cue, Bartosic in 22.5 seconds lane to lane.
Yeah, not a bad stop for Bartosic. Another 4-second pit stop for him, so he's made his second stop. Back out the way he goes. Yeah, this is a really good fight. I'm just wondering if Commodore has any tyre left now that he's caught these guys. Has he pushed it so hard to get there that now that he's there, he's got nothing else left in the car? This is going to be an interesting couple of laps. Probably the next 2 laps we'll see them all in. And if they're all still together after the pit stops, wowee, is this last little phase of the race going to be absolutely intense, because there's going to be no inch given for any of these guys. Ooh, interesting. I thought this was going to be the other way around.
So did I, but they made the call. Huge lockup from Kent Nielsen, trying to get it slowed down on the lane. And if he's not got it slowed on the lane, he's staying there for an extra 15 seconds plus. So that for Kent Nielsen is not going to be ideal. I think they've actually buffed it up to about 45, almost to a minute now. So keep an eye on those stops. Will Kent Nielsen go? No, he's been busted for speeding.
Yeah, I thought the way that he went extra on the brakes there when he had come in, that he might have got done for speeding. So that's unfortunate. One little mistake there has cost him potentially a podium. Adam Webb out and away. Need to watch Kajitani, see what happens with him. Ray Griffion has also come in. Faber Toffoli also into the pits. Kent Nielsen is still stopped.
Oh, they're very heavy on the penalty now. It will be a long time. Can I also point out at this point that Jinsei Yuk only just then made his first stop of the day. 29 laps almost on a set of medium compound tyres, and was doing some very impressive 22s. 4.1 second box time for Jin. But that is an incredible achievement there, and it has raced him up into a top 5.
And Nielsen out the way, so it's a 40-second stop and hold penalty for him with that incident. Matt Wood, just see his tyres off there on the side. Away he goes. He's back on some more softs. And Martinez also in, but Matt Wood, another 3.8 second stop. Out the way. Run home from here. Martinez out the way. But the battle that we want to watch is on right now. And have a look at this. Matt Wood just out ahead.
That's Kajitani there, and Adam Webb just out ahead in terms of that little look. And now a move done just behind. That is Bartosic through on Diogo Oliveira, who's gone medium to get himself home today. in this race, or might be trying medium soft. Either way, Bartosic gets it done on what are the oldest fresh tyres in the field.
Yeah, the oldest fresh tyres, which are only 2.5 laps old, so Bartosic is still going to pull away for the next little bit, but if Oliveira can stick with Bartosic to within maybe 3 seconds, 4 seconds, he'll get that back with the last few laps of this race. But this is a very, very interestingly poised race right now. That battle for the last spot on the podium is going to be very, very intriguing over the next 20 minutes because it is tight, it is close, it is still within a second. It means DRS is still going to play a part.
It's still there and it's still available for Tominori Kajitani, who would absolutely love to put a podium on to start the season. Adam Webb hasn't even had a top 5 in this series so far that we've been covering, of course, with SimSpeed TV. How much would Adam Webb just love to put a podium on the board? Martinez in second, Matt Wood leads by 5.3 at the front, but it is down to this podium battle that we focus on late on in this race to see who is going to, in fact, end up where. We've had retirements over the course of this race. Of course, feedback issues for Kane Halliburton put him out of the race. Tamashene, of course, we saw find the wall early on, decides to retire the car. And then finally, Marco Nurmela on the opening lap, running into troubles at the Repsol corner. But as we make that charge up the hill towards turn numbers 7 and 8 on track, you can see Kajitani is just clawing it in, hand over fist.
Thomas Bartosic fastest lap of the race on the last lap just then, at 20.7. But yeah, this battle between Kajitani and Webb is intense right now. These guys are pushing hard. Purple sectors everywhere for Kajitani at the moment, so this lap will likely be the fastest lap of the race, as he's closing down on Adam Webb, who's doing green laps, green sector split times. He's doing his personal best sector times. But have a look at the gap. It was a second at the line last lap. Is nothing right now.
Oh, bingo. 20.4. Tominori Kajitani, fastest lap, can't get the move done on Adam Webb. Into one. You can see how much they want that podium place, and it is really showing right now how much they're fighting. They actually looked at clawing back time on Jorge Martinez. It's only 9 seconds, that gap at this stage, but no looks through the Repsol corner as of yet. We've got to stay calm here over this. This race is far from over at this moment. Also keep an eye out on Oliveira's fading tyres potentially late on, because Jinsei Yuk will want to try and get the softs back into play and chase that down late if possible. But there is Reynaldo Augusto onto a set of softs, his last stop of the day.
Yeah, he's come out just behind Kent Nielsen, who's in recovery mode now, but this battle for 3rd and 4th, wow, what a fight. This is going to be all the way to the end. Still 13 laps to go, 12.5 laps to go. Plenty of opportunity. And I'm wondering if Kajitani just is content sitting back, saving some tyres for the last maybe 2 or 3 laps. As you said, the car of Martinez is almost within sight in that they are closing that gap down, but Martinez can start pushing back as well. He's just had his fastest lap of the race. But these two here, the pace has dropped back off again. They're actually going to fight this. And
outside!
Martinez is going to hold on. Nearly moved on.
Nearly moved on. That's Webb holding on for what is third position, but now it's the charge through 3. This will have to be defended now here by Adam Webb, but no, not enough commitment to lunge to the inside like Hamilton and Rosberg 2014. No chance there. So ultimately, for Kajitani, it's another case of waiting, but a mistake wide goes Adam Webb, and suddenly it's back on again. Maybe at 10 is the next place to try and think about a move as they crest the rise out of 8 towards 9, and all the while that they start to get a little bit of looking around each other, Bartosic took half a second out of them on that last lap, and now you've got to be precise and decisive, quick and decisive if you're going to get it done.
100%. They've got to be careful of Bartosic, who's not that far behind. I think Martinez now is out of sight. He's now to nearly 10 seconds ahead, but the gap between Bartosic and Kajitani, 2.5 seconds. Last lap by half a second quicker was Bartosic. Bartosic again doing green sector split times on this lap, doing his personal bests. He's just done a 20.6, his fastest lap of the race. He is closing in on these guys. We're going to have a 3-car fight for the final spot on the podium. Absolutely perfect, what we want to see.
Exactly. Good gapping from Adam Webb, and Kajitani will be a little bit happier, I would have said. There, Jay, just backing off it a little bit, has given himself 2-3 laps to go and attack, and then he drops back to get out of some of that turbulent air, and of course that will help with the scrubbing of the tyres, that he's not, I would say, understeering around all of the place and really dealing with tyres that want to wear a bit quicker when you're stuck behind another car.
Yeah, it's not a bad ploy. It's something that you see quite a lot, isn't it? That drivers will give themselves like a lap or two to push and then drop back and try and save the tyre and then go for another push. It's something that is not unfamiliar to us in these races and all of our races that we broadcast here. So, yeah, I'm thinking that Bartosic will probably do the same. He'll probably push hard to close up, sit behind for a little bit, save the tyres and get them back up to optimal running, and then go for another hard push. Matt Wood has just set the fastest lap of the race as well.
Certainly has, 120.231. That is his honour as traffic now comes into play. That is Cengiz Kagash's then, who is overtaken, and crucially Kajitani, and that gap is 9/10 of a second all of a sudden, and it's looking more and more likely that he could drop out of that range. There is Matt Wood, your race leader, and I have to say, what a drive it has been from Matt Wood at the front. A season last year where Ugolotti at every single turn had his number. It would be a soul-searching season to try and find that pace. If it wasn't Ugolotti, it was Kane Halliburton, and now for Matt Wood, out in front, 6 seconds clear. You know, he wants to challenge for that title, and he's been the bridesmaid of this season so many times before.
And also, as you said there, if it wasn't Ugolotti, it was Halliburton. If it wasn't Halliburton, it was Jorge Marquez. He just seemed to have someone that had his number every single time he had pace. It was someone else that was just that tiny little bit quicker than him. So this is a great start to the season for him. Really good points up for grabs in this first race as well. Strength of field of over 4,000 for round one is a great start to the season. But race definitely not over. And Kajitani back to Bartosic. Bartosic got held up a little bit, not able to get past the car of Kagasus, and now dropped maybe 4/10 on that lap. So Adam Webb just punched out his fastest lap of the race as well.
And crucially, as they crossed the line, outside of a second was Tomonori Kajitani. So that was key as that battle continues out there on circuit. We've got another one though, because John Pat Kelly, he's got Kent Nielsen all over the back of him at this moment. There's that, you can see it on screen. DRS wide open for Kent Nielsen. This is to get back in the top 10.
And considering Kent Nielsen, based on his pace and where he was before the last pit stop, he should be fighting in that podium battle. He should be battling for third. He's back just getting himself to the top 10 now.
Oliveira is lucky he's still got a car. He was fully sideways through turn 9, and you don't save it at 9.
Looking forward to seeing how this goes.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, for those who have the availabilities of flash photography, it's a 5-second pose. Make sure you get a good look at this.
Whoa. Okay. Yeah, how did you save that?
I don't know. And for Diogo Oliveira, he's still in the race, but look at the gap now he's got behind Jin Se-Yuk. It's now down to 3 seconds.
I don't think he knows how he saved that.
No, I don't think he does either. I think he's just closed his eyes and prayed, and it's worked.
Good news is he didn't make contact with the wall, because that could have very easily happened. But those fronts will be hurting a little bit. He did have to lock the fronts to try and hold that position. Augusto and John Pat Kelly side by side, and that is moved on for Ronaldo Augusto. Kelly continuing on. And just content cruising around at the moment.
Yeah, that contention is very much there. 8 laps to go, of course, here at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. Next week is going to be important because it's into Lagos for the second round. It's the road to Zandvoort to finish off the season here this time around. And we focus once more on this battle, 3rd, 4th, and technically 5th as well, with Bartosic 3 seconds adrift. But Kajetani still within 0.7 of a second of Adam Webb, still there, but I think he's giving himself a bit of time here to work back up to the back of Adam Webb to go and attack and say, well, do you still have it? You're pushing your best laps, which means you're pushing your tyre.
Exactly right. He's going to be working the tyre a lot harder than Webb is at the moment. And of course, as we said, he's just probably backing off, getting the tyre back down to optimal conditions, optimal temperature, then pushing hard for a couple of laps to try and get the move done, and then he'll bring the tyre back down again. And on that schedule too, of course, remember we only ran into Lagos last round, but the reason we're running Zandvoort as the final round this season, of course, it will match up to the return of Formula 1 to Zandvoort in the real world. So we're matching the schedule up there.
We absolutely are, and we're going to enjoy every single bit of it up through the right. And see, Kajetani has got himself into a position where he is trying to close this one down. Adam Webb, very aggressive through turn number 12 into through 13, he was a bit aggressive, and that has allowed him to go out and attack that final sector as he goes on through. The gap now down to half a second as they cross the line and make that move again towards turn number 1. It's not going to be this lap that Kajetani goes for it, but maybe next lap's the key, hoping that there's going to be a little mistake out of Adam Webb, who's in unfamiliar territory, up 6 places.
Yeah, Adam Webb a long way up from where he started. Of course, started in 9th position. As just noticed that there has been a passing position there. Oliveira did lose that spot to Sayuk because of those tyres. They'll be absolutely screaming, although they are on the medium. They are 22-lap old medium tyres. They will be hurting a lot. Bartosic hasn't been able to close that gap back in too, so that gap was down to 2.5 seconds and now back out to 4 seconds. So Bartosic may be just content at this stage to sitting back a little bit, letting these two fight it out, and potentially hope that they come together, because that isn't out of the realms of possibility as well as contact between these two.
It certainly isn't. I would also argue the point that oldest tyres, fresh tyre takers, is Thomas Bartosic. So he finds himself on older tyres. He's going to be struggling on those. But again, look how aggressive you need to be around this circuit to close down in those gaps. Adam Webb is very good, very solid at putting down the power and the acceleration, but the gaps come down by another 0.2 from where it was. Here comes Kajetani. He's not going to be there just yet. He's trying the outside line, couldn't turn in with confidence in comparison to Adam Webb there in terms of that move. And once more, it is a case to be made of can you find it? We're into the final 5 laps, and this is a true gauntlet test for someone there of that ilk. And it's worth noting that Oliveira couldn't last it on the tyres. 5 laps to go. It's a fresh set of boots and try and steal the fastest lap.
I'm wondering if Adam Webb there did the wrong thing by defending it to the inside. I think that Kajetani was hoping that Webb would move to the inside and maybe trying to force a mistake out of him. He's content sitting behind. He hasn't tried to make any lunges. He hasn't tried to force a move at all. I think he's happy just waiting and watching Adam Webb, and he's also using this time to work out if there's any points of the circuit where Adam Webb is showing any weakness. I think through turn 11 is a potential for something to happen, because Webb doesn't look as strong there. He loses any ground that he gains earlier in the lap. This time, though, this is the closest that we've seen Kajetani DRS Open. Here we go.
Here we go again. So now you're starting to see that move. Kajetani now moving hard to the inside, trying to get this one sorted. Webb has to leave the room, and he gets some great turning. They'll fight all the way through two. Little bit washed out there was Kajetani, but he's got the inside at 3 though still, and they'll continue to fight this one all the way to turn 4. Look at them tyre to tyre as they hit the brakes into Repsol. Webb refusing to give up, but unfortunately he has to yield to the Japanese driver, who now moves up onto the podium.
What a pass. Great job for Kajetani to get that move done. It took him a long time to get that move done, but remember, this isn't over. Adam Webb's still got tyre in the bank to come back. They're on virtually the same age tyre. They've had pretty much the same pace all race. Adam Webb will probably use the next lap to try and conserve some tyre, fight back. Kajetani is going to have to conserve some tyre now too after pushing hard to get this through. This fight is not done yet.
Webb's pushing so aggressively. He had a wiggle coming out of turn 10. That's how much he wants to get back. But if he starts getting really aggressive with it, well, you can see Kajetani's already clawed away a gap of about 6-7, if not a second now at this stage. And Kajetani, well, it's all over Red Rover. Goodbye and good night, it seems. Look at that gap. All of a sudden, it's 1.1 seconds. It was within a second at the DRS marker point, but outside of that, there's nothing there. And we have to remember as well, 3 laps to go, not long left in this race to figure everything out. We've still got other miniature battles out there. For example, Nielsen versus Augusto still going on.
Yep. Augusto, excuse me, trying to still gain a little bit more out of this race. Of course, up 3 spots from where he started. Kent Nielsen trying to recover from what has been a fantastic first 2/3 of the race. Final third, he'll want to forget forever.
Yeah, back steps out, tyres squeal out in pain, and there goes the place to Reynaldo Augusto. So chalk that off as one of your 4 drop rounds there, Kent. You'll have other chances to get podiums and fight for victories. Mark my words about it this season. But at least for the moment, it seems like we've got all sorts still to look at. There is your race leader, by the way, having a very, very solid race. Matt Wood there at the front. The driver we haven't talked about is the one in second, Jorge Martinez. We've hardly had any camera time on him all race long since the early stages. And you know what? The Mag Machine has done a brilliant job of making this race a very, very close one for Matt Wood. Yes, it's 7 seconds, but Martinez is a master of finding a podium. Just quietly gets about the season, scores those points, and at the end of the season you say, well, Jorge Martinez was a really, really good driver. If you compare it to, say, any other form of motorsport out there, it's like Jorge Martinez is a Danny Pedrosa.
He's just Mr. Consistent, isn't he? He may not have the pace every round to get race wins, but the fact he can capitalise and still get good results at the rounds that he doesn't have the pace to be able to win is what makes him a real championship contender. In Australian racing, it's the Jamie Wynn Cup. You know, if he has a bad round, he's still scoring really good points. It would be a good round result for other drivers. So Martinez, while he doesn't pick up the win today based on how this is going, he'll still be happy and content with the 2nd place because it's a great start to him for the championship. Adam Webb has got this back down under a second. It's now down to 7/10. Nope, just made a mistake.
Yeah, just pushed a bit too wide coming out of 15. And then just like that, over the anti-cut curb, it is trouble. Speaking of trouble, there is Kent Nielsen. There is John Pat Kelly. There is one Mr. Diogo Oliveira. And Oliveira, of course, has got the freshest set in the world. John Pat Kelly yields pretty quickly to that one. But now Kent Nielsen, I think, is going to lose his top 10 spot with this because Diogo Oliveira is absolutely flying. And it's almost like he is charged up, ready to pounce, almost like a cat trying to attack. Going through the left, going through the right, trying to open up the exit. He's got so much more grip underneath. He's able to follow right underneath. Will get the DRS. He's forced to go the long way around. Kent Nielsen will fight this one on the final lap. But the difference maker is it's already down the inside and it's already set and complete almost. But final corner now, as the fight still continues, goes for Matt Wood, who has had a flawless run today. Starts the season off right, wins it. Also delivering like the postman on a Saturday morning. There are two constants. The second constant is Martinez gets a podium. Second place there. And what a drive for third place for Tomonori Kajitani, who had to fight back from a very bad start to get to third and take nothing away from Adam Webb. Career best fourth place finish.
The battle between Nielsen,
Oliveira's
Kelly
off.
and Oliveira has ended in tears. Oliveira off the circuit. And we need to catch this on the replay because I think this was a little bit bigger than it may have just looked.
It was, and it was all Oliveira. Look at this. Goes through four. He's pushing so hard to get a gap.
Oh.
Just caught the grass on the outside. Two takes to get them. Bang! Into the tyres goes Diogo Oliveira. And there goes any aspirations of a top 10.
Not done though between Nielsen and John Pat Kelly. Nielsen will just hold on to that spot though. Only just.
Oh! There goes John Pat Kelly, who gives a bit of flair for the fans there at New Holland Corner. And ultimately will be the last finisher as Oliveira had to take the tow. Official classified results then here from Barcelona are as follows. It is a all different nationality affair for the podium. Matt Wood picks up the win, an hour and 25 seconds, has won by 6.7 over Jorge Martinez, with Tomonori Kajitani finishing that one off in third position overall. Adam Webb gets fourth place with Thomas Bartosic, a very underrated P5, and what a drive as well from Jin Se-yuk, who started today in 14th position and got himself up into P number 6. Even better drive from Kleber Toffoli. We talked pretty much none of him all race long. He started the race in 16th. He was the biggest mover in the field. He gained 9 places up into 7th place. Ray Griffioen gets 8th with Reynaldo Augusto recovering up into P9. Started today on the mediums as well as Kent Nielsen, after running most of the race up in the podium places, having that speeding penalty on the lane, back into 10th place overall. 11th then would go to John Pat Kelly, who couldn't get things done on the final lap, had a big slide to show the fans. One lap down, we saw what happened to Oliveira. He had to go to the two-stop strategy, and then that spin on the final lap means he doesn't reach the end. He will be classified ahead of Cengiz Kaygushas, then, who is 13th, and then your retirees, and some very big retirees at that as well. Kane Halliburton having his huge moment, force feedback issues, dropping him pretty much out of any racing contention. Tamashane, we saw have an issue early on lap 2, put it into the wall, and then the big one on lap 1 for Marco Nurmela, meaning that it's a poor day at the office for the racecraft team. We'll have to regather, regroup, and hope there are opportunities on the horizon. What a track to go to. It's almost like it's the late 90s, early noughties all over again, because Autodromo Jose Carlos Pace is there, or Jose Carlos Pache, for round 2 of the championship. Interlagos. You absolutely love it, Jay.
Yeah, it's a favourite of all of us here at SimSpeed because it just provides some amazing racing, and in this series, it has always put on a great show. Well, a little disappointing we're not going to see it as the final round again. Cool that we've got it still in the schedule either way, and it's going to be a very, very fun race. I'm looking forward to it. Very, very open field this season though. Who do you think could win? There's legitimately 5 or 6 drivers that you could write down and say, yeah, they're a favourite to win this race, and we're going to see that each and every round.
And the only place you can catch it each and every round is with us here at SimSpeed TV. If you haven't had the chance to already, you can like, share, and subscribe for more amazing content brought to you by us at this team here. Massive thanks has to go to the Virtual Racing School, who has sponsored the replays here on this iRacing Grand Prix Series broadcast, and of course for all the work that has been done behind the scenes as well. From Jay Kennedy, cameras and commentary here today, myself, Jake Sperry, Matt Wood can finally start off the season his way with a victory, with an important victory that sets tempo and tone. Jorge Martinez in second was a very strong result, and he will be there right until the end of the season. But There are some new faces who are up there that weren't there before. There's going to be some chalking up on the drawing board and seeing how results will look as we head, of course, down to Latin America and to Brazil. We'll see you in Interlagos 1 week from now here with us at SimSpeed TV.
This is fantastic. This is GT Racing right now.
He's got tracks and he's got rid of the outside of both of them. Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up to
Oh my God! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's going to get rolled.
It's very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, here we go. Oh no! That's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God, what?